a lot of theories were invalidated on what causes aging. And last year, Professor Sinclair published the Information Theory of Aging, which is a really big deal. I think it deserves a Nobel Prize for really identifying what causes aging and what we can do to slow it down in many ways. And more importantly, live a healthy life until our maximum genetic lifespan. So this is a really big deal. It got me so excited that we're building this company, growing it every day, and trying to get this technology to as many people as possible. What we're going to talk about is the current research. So Professor Sinclair in the genetics lab, what causes aging, current remedies for aging, and our product. And I'll start with Professor David Sinclair. He became kind of famous now. Imagine somebody came up with a lot of research. Somebody comes up with a lot of research on the fountain of youth, right? Well, that's kind of what Sinclair came up with. A lot of information there that can slow down aspects of aging. And as you can see, Time Magazine highlighted him as one of the 100 most influential people of the year, stating that Sinclair upped his game and pinned down chemicals that actually reverse the aging process in cells. Longevity molecules levels tend to drop by as much as 50% as when you reach 50 years old, which we know now is even more. And if we could restore what's lost, aging cells might behave as if they were younger. And so he published this book, Why We Age and Why We Don't Have to. And it was quite a big deal, bestseller. Lifespan is the name of it. And here he is, David Sinclair. He's 50, I believe 57 now, or 58, and he looks quite good for his age. He even looks better now than in this photo. So he just keeps getting younger, younger and younger and younger. It's quite incredible. And that's me on the left there with my ID badge at the laboratory. And here's the Sinclair lab. And at this laboratory, there are many members that are doing quite shocking things. We have a Chinese student there that just recently regrew veins, regrew nerves inside of mice's eyes. That was a big deal. For the first time, they were able to regrow those types of nerves. And also, you've got in the middle Patrick Griffin. He's trying to figure out how we could map the entire DNA of a person for just $5. And then you have all of these support staff, researchers, and David Sinclair there on the left. So what happened that all of this kind of exploded in the media? Well, a lot of articles started coming up about the research at Harvard Medical School going, well, rewinding the clock. Treatment restores blood vessel growth, muscle vitality, boosts exercise endurance in aging animals. And of course, this old statement that we are as old as our arteries. So could reversing the aging of blood cells hold the key to restoring youthful vitality? A lot of articles, a lot of media coverage came out showing that David Sinclair was able to actually, let me mute somebody on the call. 1 second, I'm going to mute some of these calls. People. Mute and mute. Great. So this was a big deal. He showed that in mice at the laboratory, 90-year-old mice in terms of human years were able to run like young mice. So they're running around, working well. Then his dogs, all of Dr. David Sinclair's dogs are running around like pups. Then everybody at the Harvard Genetics Lab is taking these molecules and their families, and everybody's feeling great. Women are feeling and having bodily functions as they were in their 20s and 30s, and men are also the same way. So it's a really, really big deal. So then we go into the science. Well, what is the science behind this? Okay, so a lot of stuff was out there in the literature about antioxidants, and nobody really could pin down what causes aging. Now we have a general idea of what it is and how we can prevent it. So through evolution, these seven enzymes, also called proteins or genes, called sirtuins. Somebody is still on here. Let me mute them. They're called sirtuins, and there are 7 of these sirtuins inside of the body. Oh, there it is. Pause it there. So there are 7 sirtuins inside of each cell. So every cell in your body has the same DNA. The question is, why does each cell have a different function? Why are these brain cells different than like cells if they have the same software inside that's telling them what to be? Well, there's a system that reads this DNA and says, okay, you act as a brain cell, you act as a skin cell, you act as a leg cell, and so on and so forth. And there's a system there that goes in and repairs this DNA when it breaks down. So every day, as you function, you have 4 trillion on average breaks in your DNA, but from natural causes, natural breaks. And then when you go out in the sun causes issues to your radiation, breaks down your DNA in different areas. You eat different types of foods, chemicals, that breaks down your DNA. If you put plastics into the microwave, those chemicals get into the DNA, they break it down a little bit. But luckily, we have this mechanism, they're called sirtuins, and there are 7 of them, that are in each cell, and they go in there, and the first sirtuin inside of the nucleus goes in and fixes the DNA. So that's really good news. That's why people that smoke, for example, hundreds of toxins go into their body, and they break down their DNA. But some people are able to go on their whole lives with smoking and never end up developing cancer, while others, of course, do. It's just a type of a lottery, but it's much more accelerated as you smoke. But believe it or not, as you get older, you have 40 or 50 times higher chance of getting that cancer than a smoker, because the most important thing are those sirtuins that go in there and they fix your DNA. Now, they do other things as well. They're sirtuins located in the cytoplasm and the mitochondria, and they go in, they create energy. So after taking our product, for example, most people that are, everybody that is elderly and frail and hurting, they can see that instantly their whole life comes back to how they were when they were younger. These sirtuins go in, they create energy, they're going in and out, and helping, aiding in 450 processes in the cells naturally, right? So we're not doing anything to your body, those sirtuins are, and they're working as they work. But the really important thing is what causes the aging, what causes this cell to morph out of shape. And then you go to the doctor, you got all these medicines, and these medicines are trying to push this cell back into shape or make it work again. And then your body gets worse and worse, and you're wondering, why am I deteriorating even more every time I take more medicines? And so it's a very complicated process. And so now we know that this sirtuin that's inside of the nucleus, the first sirtuin, well, what it does is it goes and fixes the breaks in the DNA that are caused by all these chemicals that we're taking in, and also naturally, when your cells reproduce, your DNA breaks. But when it goes out and it goes to fix the DNA, it leaves its post of turning on and off parts of the DNA. So, okay, this is a bit complicated, but it's really important to understand. Your cell understands what it is because it reads the DNA correctly. It reads that I am let's say, a skin cell, or I am a brain cell. Now, when you ingest some type of chemical, this little sirtuin leaves, goes ahead and fixes the DNA, but when it leaves, it abandons that post, and your DNA slowly starts unraveling, turning on and off and on and off. So these brain cells slowly, they have DNA that's on and off in the wrong areas, and they're no longer working fully like brain cells and like they're supposed to. So the more that you smoke, the more that you ingest these chemicals, the more pollutants that go into your body, the faster you age. That sirtuin leaves, goes on its mission, fixes the DNA, but while it's fixing the DNA, the DNA is actually unraveling and is not being held in place. And then these molecules decline more and more and more and more as you age, and these sirtuins get slower and slower and slower. And there are also little strands of DNA floating around that develop, and these sirtuins can't even get there to fix your DNA. They can't go back to turn on and off parts of your DNA the way they're supposed to. And what happens? The primary cause of aging is cellular. You lose your cellular identity. So what happens is your cells go out of whack and they start morphing out of shape. Every single part of them isn't working correctly. These sirtuins can't get to what they're supposed to be doing. They're not creating energy. They're not helping you transport those nutrients into the cell. Everything in the cell does not make any more sense. The cell is slowly getting out of shape. Eventually, the body will either flag it for deletion, or it will just turn off and turn into a half zombie-like cell called a senescent cell. And these senescent cells are actually when you look under a microscope, you see that somebody's old. So when you take our product, you can prevent these cells from going senescent, and you can also get the ones that are, and you can also get them to work properly like they were when they were young. So it's quite incredible. Now we'll continue, and as we go through a presentation, it's a lot to take in information-wise, but it's very important to understand. And I'll summarize it. we have a process that fixes our DNA, but at the same time, it also maintains how your DNA is read, and that gives your cell its identity. As you ingest chemicals and different harmful pollutants, and also as you age, there are breaks in that DNA. Luckily, this mechanism fixes it, but the trade-off is it abandons its post and of maintaining your DNA, and it unravels and unwinds, and your cells get out of whack, out of shape, and they start deforming. So now we're able to take compounds that are natural molecules and give these sirtuins their energy. They go back to work. They fix your DNA, put back on and off switches in your DNA, get it raveled back to where it's supposed to, and you can get your cell identity back in all of your cells, which is fantastic. So the first sirtuin, it like I talked about, it repairs the DNA, unravels parts of the DNA, the chromatin, and it transcribes, has transcription factors. And then we're going into what that affects. Well, if your sirtuin isn't repairing your DNA in your brain cells, for example, that is a big deal on neurodegenerative diseases. If it's not creating energy, you've got metabolism problems. You may develop cancers, cardiovascular diseases, inflammation, and here you can kind of get an idea of all of the sirtuins and what implications they have on a lot of problems that we develop that are age-related. So these sirtuins, this graphical representation doesn't mean that you have different sirtuins in different parts of your body. No, all the cells have 7 sirtuins, but just to give you an idea of where these issues are located in the body and how turning these natural mechanisms back on can give you maximize your healthy lifespan. And there are a lot of studies out there on this, primarily at the Harvard Genetics Lab. For example, the wide spectrum of activities in which sirtuins participate is implicating these enzymes in pathology of many diseases, which includes obesity. Let me mute somebody there. Obesity-associated metabolic diseases, and okay, I muted them, and cardiovascular diseases, cancer, and other issues. So what we're doing is we're not going in and altering your body or fixing your body or doing anything. We're letting your body's natural repair mechanisms work again. And that's really important. And it's completely natural. So here we have Professor Sinclair, and he shocked the world when he was able to get these mice to function and look like they were young. It was quite incredible. And he himself reverses his age.
And so I'm going to show you what these...
Oh, let me actually share the screen again with computer sound. He's going to show us what these independent tests did for him. You can test your age before taking your product. You can test a blood panel of everything that's going on in your body, and a artificial intelligence mechanism will give you an idea of what your age probably is. And everybody who uses this program, they get their age back to 35, to 37, 29. So it's quite incredible. But it takes a while. A lot of people are impatient to go and start, pay the company $800 or $500 and then test it, and then wait, and then in 3 months test it again. But it's quite a good product out there. It's called Insight Tracker for testing your blood endpoints.
Independent tests showed my age to be over a period of 3 months. See the graph on the bottom? The red line is my age going up. And then when I started taking these molecules, you can see that I plummeted. I don't know if you can see the ages, but that top peak is 57 point something. The bottom that I landed at 3 months later, 31.4. And not only did that tell me that I was doing well, my body told me I was doing well. I felt younger. People said I looked younger. I certainly had more energy. And so I think that this graph is hopefully the first of many similar graphs across the globe where people can potentially alter not just how they feel, but how long they live. And I may have given myself another 15 years of life here. I don't know for sure, but if I'm around in another 60 years, we'll know something's going on. By the way, my father, who's 70, almost 78, is also taking these medicines. Voluntarily, I'm not forcing anybody. And he just climbed the highest mountain in Tasmania. And my brother, who's 35 years younger, could barely keep up. So it's so far so good. And so I just want to end by saying, I think the world that our children are going to live in and their grandchildren for generations beyond are going to live in a very different world where people, they don't have to worry about getting cancer in their 60s and 70s, and they don't have to worry about becoming frail in their 80s and 90s. And when they reach that point, they'll wonder why we didn't work on this sooner. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Sinclair has quite the reputation for shocking people. If you, which I started doing a lot. If I sit next to someone on a plane, they usually drop their jaw and they go, "Oh, there's a field anti-aging. You guys can do these things." So he does that quite often, but he does it on a large scale with doctors and scientists, and it's quite a shocker for.
Reach that point, they'll wonder why we didn't work on.
And let me see here. I wanted to summarize because I saw that a lot of people came in at the end. So I just wanted to summarize what we've covered in just 20 seconds or so. Don't count it exactly, but basically we're going to talk about aging in our product and the new theory of aging that wipes out pretty much what we've known. Dr. Sinclair is at the Harvard Genetics Lab, and he's been featured in Time Magazine, 60 Minutes, and other publications. He's always on Joe Rogan and other things. He wrote a book, published it last year, that really deserves a Nobel Prize, I think. There he is, 57, looking really young. There's the Harvard Genetics Lab. A lot of publications about reversing cardiovascular issues and getting people working well. And then the theory of aging, which is that we have these enzymes, also called proteins or genes in our body that repair the DNA, but when they repair it, the trade-off is from all of the contaminants and pollutants and other things that we breathe in and also as we age. But the trade-off is that your DNA unravels and unwinds as you as your DNA is repaired. So good news is you don't get cancer, but bad news is you age. So now we're able to come in there and give them the energy they need to go back and not only fix the DNA, but also maintain and restore the identity of your cells to give you a healthy life till your maximum lifespan. So now coming back to where we were at. Now, what are these levels of longevity molecules in our cells? So you can see that children, for example, they run around like crazy with so much energy, and they have large numbers of these longevity molecules. And then when you see a 95-year-old person, that person is walking so slowly and crippled and speaking slowly and not remembering things. So there's certainly something going on. And now the year 2020, it's not, it shouldn't be impossible for us to understand what that is, right? So even though we've been told our whole lives that that's what aging is and that's what happens, that's how everybody has to end up, now we understand that's not the case. And we understand what the mechanisms are. As you can see in this graph, this is a graph of the levels of longevity molecules and how they decrease. And once you hit 50, those hit to 50%. And then when you get older and older, you get to just a few percent. And if you don't die from something age-related, then you're just lucky. And you see somebody that lives to 114 and they go, wow, how did you live so long? Well, that's just a really lucky person, right? Usually a really lucky person that got to go through that. Or they're still, their sirtuins are working very strongly to support the repair of their DNA and not develop a lot of these age-related illnesses. Or they've been exercising 24/7. When the older you get, the more you have to exercise to stay in shape. It's quite incredible. So anyway, so now we're able to intervene with natural molecules. That's fantastic. So when you look at this graph, when you're in your 30s, you start noticing, oh, maybe I can't stay up till 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. dancing at a nightclub or something, or being out there 24/7 with energy. Then when you hit your 40s, as many of you here might be noticing, you're thinking, oh shoot, I'm gonna have to retire here probably in the next whatever 20, 30 years, or depending on your retirement age, but I'm starting to feel aging. You start to panic right about here, 40 or 50. Then we start seeing the white hairs, women start going through menopause, and you can tell right about 50, everything goes down. These longevity molecules decline. So these sirtuins aren't able to work. They're not going in there to fix the DNA the way they should. People go through and they suffer those breaks that the sirtuins don't fix. So either those cells turn off or they turn cancerous, and they don't go back to unravel and unravel parts of the DNA, which causes those cells to go out of whack. So you start developing all these issues. So people at this age, they start developing blood pressure problems and cardiovascular diseases, and then their memory starts giving out. Eventually, 70s, 80s, that's not a fun time. The entire body slows down. Most of the cells are out of whack or getting out of whack. A lot of age-related complications come up, and people go to the doctor and they say, "Doctor, you know, I'm having memory problems. I'm having issues with my brain." And the doctor says, "Okay, well, we don't really know what causes it." They don't know. So they go, "Okay, well, tell me what kinds of issues you are. I'll look at my chart and I'll give you a diagnosis." I'll say, "Okay, you have this type of Alzheimer's." So, "Oh, you know, I can't hear. I mean, I can't remember. I've got a little bit of this problem, that problem." "Well, okay, you've got this type of dementia." So they are not able to really understand what causes these issues. And at the Harvard Genetics Lab, the belief is that it's the cellular instability where these cells, they lose their identity and these cells go out of whack and they're no longer working like brain cells. So endothelial cells right over here, 70s, 80s, or even younger for a lot of people, they start going out of whack, and people's they don't get their blood traveling down to their toes and to their legs as they did. And it's because those cells aren't working correctly anymore. And it gets worse and worse and worse, and people hit that decline. So now with taking our product, the levels of of these longevity molecules go back to 75%, and they maintain that way. And so you don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about a lot of complications that are age related. Obviously, this doesn't help with curing any types of issues like you were born with. Some people were born with a problem. Some people were born with some type of genetic malfunction, or maybe they cut off their finger when they were younger. Well, that's not going to regrow it or cure any of those issues. But when you look at age as a problem and age-related problems, this product definitely can support getting them to work again. So a lot of people that call us, they might have a disease. We won't be able to cure that disease, such as MS, because we don't cure diseases. This is a supplement. But what they report is, wow, I still have my disease, but I am able to function like I did with it when I was in my 30s. I'm able to urinate without using a diaper. I get those calls. I'm able to walk around. I'm able to work well. Well, yeah, because you solved the age-related component. So who's suffering from aging? Everybody is. Some people suffer from it more or less. Some people exercise. And what happens is actually exercise and eating vegetables and also going into hot and cold, that activates sirtuins. So now we understand, okay, if you exercise, you're activating the sirtuins, you're telling your body something's wrong, hunker down, go in there and fix the DNA, and they go in and they do that. So that's why people that exercise look younger. That's why people that smoke, they look older. Those problems are breaking their DNA, and sirtuins are going out there like to battle 24/7 trying to fix the DNA. If you look at a photo of two twins on Google, one that smoked his whole life and the other one that didn't, you'll notice one looks old and the other one didn't. Well, they might have both not developed cancer if they got lucky, but the one that smoked definitely had those sirtuins launched out there fixing DNA the whole time, and they aged. So let's continue here. Now, in the past, people would die, live a shorter lifespan. And now people are living way longer. They're eating better and they're living longer. Our goal with our product is that you don't have to worry about going through age-related issues, and you can just live a good and healthy life all the way until your maximum genetic lifespan. So it depends on the person, but it could be 110, 115. I'm convinced that my grandmother, who was talking to herself for 3 hours nonstop, we were having issues even going to dinner with her because she would nonstop talk and repeat herself, and it was insanity, actually, it seemed like. I thought that at 86, without being able to drive and her whole legs and face swollen, that was it. And the doctor had no solution for her. Well, now her brain is back. She's remembering everything, doesn't talk to herself. We go to her birthday, everything's fantastic. She's driving again. She just got a car. So it's been really great. So I'm convinced that she's going to live to that maximum lifespan, and my entire family, without having to deal with a lot of the age-related complications. And this is a chart that Sinclair shows to governments when he presents this product. We have a lot of issues that develop with age that are very costly, right? Pacemakers, $1.4 million. And that's to add on an estimated additional year of life if you average it out. Fighting cancer and diabetes prevention, Alzheimer's prevention, telomere inhibitors to try to not get your cells to turn into cancerous. And also, and then you look at the anti-aging molecules, and that was the price in the past, right? It was very expensive, and now we've gotten it down to something you can afford. You can't compare down the line. Just if you look at the time it takes for you to suffer, or for your wife, and the emotional pain, going to the doctor tells you something, either it's good or it's nonsense. You have to go to 4 more doctors. And then considering that there aren't many anti-aging doctors in the US yet, there's maybe 5 or 10, you're going to go through so much pain and suffering in life with just aging as the issue. So we're able to go in and help with that with our product. So let me talk about what it is exactly. Well, there are these molecules that our body produces that are also in many vegetables. And this molecule is called nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. And it's in broccoli, cabbage, cucumbers, avocados, tomatoes. And this is what your cell needs in order to repair its DNA and restore your cell's identity. And it, like it says here, it helps turn nutrients into energy. There's 450 processes that it helps with. It helps, it is a helper molecule for those sirtuins, and it activates them. Now, you can't take this molecule directly because it's not bioavailable. That means if you swallow it, it's not going to go into your system. So over time, they developed injections. You pay $2,000 or $5,000, and they'd inject you with this, and it was really scary and weird stuff. But people were reporting insane improvements. They're walking again. They're feeling great. Their memory's back. Their hands are not shaking anymore. You know, really great improvements for age-related issues. But it was really not something that was practical. Was something that had to be done at a doctor's office and was really complicated. So over time at the Harvard Genetics Lab, they shot these sirtuins as 7,000 different molecules, and they found that some activate them without, convert into this by your cell. So when you take our product and you swallow it, this is bioavailable for the first time you're able to take this, and it goes into your system. It goes into the small intestine, gets absorbed there in the absorption sites, and your body converts it into this molecule. It converts it into NAD. And it's a combination of, it's a proprietary combination of 2 molecules, one that gets converted into this, the other one that pushes it and acts as fuel to it, and we're able to achieve that result. I've got one person that's unmuted. I'm just gonna mute that, and we'll continue. Oh, there it is. Okay, so then we've got the studies on safety on mice, for example, completely no side effects, no drug interactions. In our company, we have a cardiovascular pharmacologist, and he always talks about how there's no drug interactions, no side effects. This is already in your cells. One of them is inside of wine, and it works as not as an antioxidant, but as a booster molecule. And the other one is already converted into a natural molecule in your body. So there's absolutely no side effects. And again, studies at Harvard Medical School, scientists pinpoint cause of vascular aging in mice. Treatment with chemical compound restored blood vessel growth and muscle vitality, boosted exercise endurance in aging animals. For us, it's a big deal. For me, it's a big deal because my grandmother, my other one, died from cardiovascular disease, peripheral arterial disease. So I didn't know that I could have potentially supported her cardiovascular system with supplement, and it would have given her a shot at a better life. I did not know that. So very quickly, people decline and they go through those problems. So here's a study that a precursor, which is our product, is the most effective precursor in the world right now. But NAD precursor inhibits JNK activation to reverse Alzheimer's disease. That was at the Tongji University. And this lady, for example, she's a registered nurse, and it was a really big deal.
I'm Dawn.
When her mother, she kind of got suckered into a treatment where they injected her with these molecules that are really inefficient and really expensive, so they charge you $5,000 or even $10,000 for the injections. and she didn't know this lady that she could have given her mother a supplement that may have done the exact same thing. So, but anyway, in this case, she had an injection of these of one of the compounds, and she could see that her mother's memory came back, and they were able to play bingo together and spend time together. So I'll play some of that.
Donna, I'm a registered nurse, and Patty just introduced you to my mom, Shirley. She, as she mentioned, has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's back in 2013, and this past year my mom has gone into moderate stage Alzheimer's. She was at the beginning of the year very walking 3 times a day, able to dress herself. She started changing come the summer. She was needing more prompting. She was needing me to pick out her clothes and help her with getting dressed. She was starting to withdraw, not be aware of what was going on with her surroundings. She was isolating a little bit more, not wanting to walk as much as she used to. Required a lot more effort on me and the rest of the family to draw her out and have her participate with things. And so when Dr. Starr wanted to infuse her with the NAD, I was very excited because I've heard about the studies and the remarkable improvements people have done. And a normal treatment would have been 3 days of infusion, full infusions. And with my mom and her age and being at the stage she was at in her Alzheimer's, we got 6 of the infusion in her.
1/6.
1/6 of it. And I have to say, this was a month ago. And my mom, within the next day, her posturing had improved. She was sitting up straight. She was getting up on her own without any assistance, minimal, just stand by. She was wanting to participate more in things around her. She actually, I think it was the 3rd day, she actually went into her closet, picked out her clothes, and got herself dressed. She was just having more conversations with people. I mean, 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, it's just getting more and more, we're getting more and more of my mom back. She's more interactive with everyone. She's more aware of what's going on around her. She's actually is starting to walk 2 times a day. She's, the other day, Peter, my significant other, was cooking, and she asked if there was anything she can do to help. She offered to set the table, and she went over and set up the table. I mean, it's just been like hugely remarkable. I'm just ecstatic that I have my mom back. And so is the rest of her family. We have a huge family. As she mentioned, she has 8 children. Well, those 8 children have children, and some of those children have children. So everybody that's coming around and seeing her is just seeing a change in her, where they can actually carry a conversation with her, they can play games with her, play bingo, and just do more with her. And it's just, if this is giving me back my mom, I just want to keep this going until, it's over. I just wanted to share with you, we did a neuro test with her prior to her getting infused. This was the date, November 15th. We had her draw a clock. She needed to put the time 3 o'clock on the clock, write a simple sentence, write down her birth date, and sign her name. A week later, I also want you to notice she was not able to spell daughter. She misspelled her name. And her penmanship, my mom always had beautiful penmanship. So I want to share with you a week later. I'm sorry, this is 2 weeks later, excuse me. And she has included my name. Her penmanship has improved. She had all the numbers on the clock, where the first time she missed some. And this is a month later. Her penmanship is significantly improved. She's spelling correctly. She's got all the numbers on the clock. The clock is bigger. So there you go. This is a measurable improvement with my mom. So
what we are doing let me see here. What we are doing is we're not the ones curing the diseases. What we're doing is we know the mechanisms that cause aging, and we know that they require these molecules to work again, and we can intervene and come in and fight the age-related aspects of that are causing issues in your body. So the results are people can kind of sit back and say, what have I been getting as I've been aging? What has been getting worse in my life? And then you can go in and take our supplement and see how your whole life changes and how it improves. So it's that's a really big deal. And of course, it's not just for people that are having any type of neurodegenerative problems or something to supplement their health. This is for people that are having any type of issue that is age-related. And that's a really big deal. So here, I wanted to show you what we did. We got quite a lot of hits on this video. We just uploaded it. Oh yeah, a lot of good reviews here. Wait, so what we did was we went into a senior home and we gave a gentleman these supplements and decided to record it and do testimonials of it as one of our investors' father. We saw a tremendous improvement in a 95-year-old being able to go from sitting in his room all day and not remembering anything and in a horrible state to functioning correctly. So here it goes. Sal is a 95-year-old gentleman living in memory care. He was supposed to copy over these shapes and draw a clock. He was unable on the first day to copy over the shapes correctly with all 5 sides and draw a clock. He begins taking Livigan every single day as instructed. He's very frail and weak at the beginning. After only a few days, 3 days, his handwriting improves, but he is still unable to draw a clock or copy over the shapes.
Trixie.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, we have you here on video.
Okay.
You said that Sal's doing better in the last few days.
Yeah.
How is he doing better?
He's using his walker and walking outside to get his newspaper.
He wasn't doing that?
You know, before he does it, he just stay in his room all day.
After just 7 days, he is able to copy over the shapes and draw a clock with the dials, but he is still not crossing over the shapes correctly.
Hi, Papa. What's going on? How you doing? I came in and I didn't see
I was
you.
out there in the putting green.
I knew it.
Huh, did you see
Yeah.
it?
No.
Putting green.
No.
Yeah, you gotta see it then.
Yeah.
He not only found the putting green at his assisted living care facility, but he also was able to score a hole-in-one.
Oh. Yeah.
He's doing this all on his own after just a few weeks of using Live Again. And here, after just 3 weeks, he is able to successfully copy over the shapes with them intersecting and draw a clock.
Hi, I'm Corey Schneider. I'm 48. I've been taking Live Again supplements for about a month. Prior to taking them,
So we have a testimonial video that is fantastic that everybody should watch. It talks about all these people. This gentleman here, he's a contractor and his days were going by slow and wounds weren't healing and he was in terrible shape. And now his hairs are growing back, dark, and he's running around like a young guy up and down the ladder and his wounds are healing. Kathy, she's on our call from Canada. She's gonna maybe tell us at the end of the call any improvements they've had, but her husband's growing back hair. He's the contractor too. He's running up and down ladders and feeling great, and his hands are cleared up. So, and she's playing pickleball and everything. Right here we have. This is actually my grandmother. It's amazing that she's completely acting normal and back to herself, and everybody in my circle knows how badly she was getting. Then we have a lot of people that joined our company as distributors, and they just love our product. So it's a really big deal there. And then some people in in Brazil, this dentist, he's using the product and getting it to a few people, senators there and other things. So this is a really great video. I recommend everybody for everybody to watch it. So again, we're getting to the end of this, so we can go into questions and other things. We in the lab, 32-month-old mice, so it would be like 90-year-olds in human years. They were taking a treatment of this combo where for 4 weeks we're able to run on average twice as long as untreated mice, taking the combo of longevity molecules. That's a big deal. And again, sirtuin-1 signaling is another another source. It is activated and generates new capillaries and the tiny blood cells in the body. So that's a really amazing thing, to be able to help seniors and get their blood vessels growing again. And unfortunately, since NAD and sirtuin-1 activity diminishes over time, it leaves the muscle tissues nutrient deprived and oxygen starved. So when you see somebody with brown legs or red legs or elephant feet, elephant legs, they're either going to go for a bypass or maybe amputation or something. I mean, it gets really bad. So now they don't have to worry about those problems. They can just look at the aging side of it and see, why are these endothelial cells working and how can we get them working again, simply. And here is Sinclair's father, Professor Sinclair's father. He was losing his memory, talking to himself, getting frail, depressed, and now he's ziplining, mountain climbing, water rafting. He's just insane. I mean, he's acting like a 25-year-old. There's my family. That's really amazing. On the left, I have my great aunt. 4 years of peripheral arterial disease and problems. 4 years sitting dormant and in such pain every day, injecting herself and with different types of medications. It was just horrible. So after 1 month, I visited her, and she's running so fast, it's hard to keep up with her. And that's one issue with our product, is that when people don't walk for 4 years or 5 years, and then they get they supplement their diet with our product, and then they go and they try to go for a full day excursion. It's a little too fast. You have to slow down. So I tell everybody, if you're suddenly you got your energy back and you're feeling young, don't go for a marathon. Go slowly. But the next day she was like, "Oh, my legs are hurting. I've been walking the entire day out." I'm like, "Yeah, of course. You have to take your time." So just her legs get stronger and stronger, and she doesn't have to go through all that muscle degeneration, which is fantastic. So she got to visit her husband's grave, and she wasn't going to because she had no way to walk over there, and now she's sprinting over there, which is unbelievable. And then in the middle, you have my grandmother. She's completely normal, back to herself. Her color in her face came back. All of her videos and things, she talks about how her life was going to be over soon. My mother's wrinkles went away. She's on the right there. My brother has it's a joke for his birthday, a princess outfit. It's his happy princess birthday. It's kind of funny. But my mother there, her wrinkles are gone. She feels great. People think she's much younger than she is. I can't tell you what her age is, but she looks really good for her age, and she doesn't really worry about going through all the age-related issues we talked about. I don't worry about that for her. I would hate for my mother to get cancer one day or something, but it totally went off my mind now. I don't worry about those problems because I know that her body is repairing her DNA correctly, and we're supplementing her diet. Okay, and yeah, so we produce this product. We have a patent we submitted on these molecules because it's the perfect combination, the perfect ingredients. They're natural, non-toxic, no drug interactions. And it's an FDA-registered facility. We abide by good manufacturing practices. What does that mean? Everybody says they do that, but what does that mean? Well, it means that when our ingredients come in, we make sure that those are 99% pure. And if they're 99% pure, which they always are, but we ensure that with third-party testing, then those ingredients can go into the batch, and the batch stays consistent. And so that's pretty much the gist of what that means. And you want to make sure that you deal with a company that cares about people and what they get in their pills and in their food, and we really care. So that's really important. Obviously, it's the most important thing. And that's it. So that's our company, First American Health Enterprises, and we have distributors growing all over the world. we just signed on the other day 2 more people in Chicago. So they have all types of deals and promotions that you can reach out to them. And we sell our product for an expensive price on our website, more expensive than distributors. Why do we do that? Well, because it is a very time consuming and very, it takes a lot of effort and a lot of time, and we have to add that on to our cost of our product when we sell it directly. But if you reach out to one of our distributors, you can work with them and they can put you on a plan. Let's say you try your first bottle and you like it, and then they can put you on a plan and give you a bigger discount. Or they can sell you a couple of bottles at a time, and they can deal with that more focused and dedicated customer service that we think everybody should get. So that's really good. And we obviously offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if this doesn't change your life, not like, oh, it helped me a little bit. This doesn't change your life, then you just let us know and you get your money back. Because if it helps you only a little bit, that too, of course. But I'm saying we want your life to be changed in order for you to continue taking this product or to feel happy and feel happy with your purchase. That's really, really important. You can go on here and read about it and see how it is like. Currently, our last batch has this, let me disable screen sharing, has this clear packaging, and the new batch has that packaging from our website. So depending on when you order, you'll see the different batches. But you can go on here and read about science and resources, a lot of studies, and what people have been going through. And what it is all about. Then you can go in and check out the shop and buy the product, contact us and read a little bit about us. The resources page is on the bottom, so a lot of good information there. And we'd love to answer any of your questions. Before we go to questions, I wanted to ask somebody like Kathy, which I really like. It's not a secret, Kathy. I really, really like you. Wait, I can't hear you, Kathy. I can't hear you. Oh, we got to unmute you. Can you unmute? Wait, you got to unmute. There you go.
Hello, Alex. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. So Kathy
Good.
next to us here, and I went over and I gave them a little sample of our product because I knew they needed it, and I just jumped in there to say hi, and then I just squeezed myself in for a presentation because I really cared about them. And then we ended up singing and playing guitar, and I just stayed there till midnight, and everybody said, "Where the hell are you?" But it was good. And then she said, "I want to get this product out to people. I want to let them know about it in Canada," and because it's been really big. So tell us, Kathy, what happened to you, kind of, why maybe you're interested about this.
Okay. All right. First of all, congratulations on your wedding. You look great since you're a married man. I'm so proud of you. That's awesome. I also want to say I'm really happy about the change that you guys have made in the Live Again product, so that now we only have to take 2 pills instead of 4. So that's great. Basically, my husband and I have had some pretty good results with all this, especially my husband. He's a contractor. He just tried to call me a minute ago, so I don't know where he is. But anyways, so he is a contractor. He's 61 years old, and he's been working, building houses and whatever for since we got married 41 years ago. And so he was finding, a little bit of arthritis. I'd watch him get out of the truck and he'd like bend over and try to get himself up and whatever. And so when Alex came to our place and showed us the product, we all decided to try it. And basically it was almost an instant thing for him. I think because he's a clean slate. My husband never takes anything. So this just worked on him instantly. So anyway, he can't believe how much easier it is for him to go up and down ladders. And we have our 2 young sons working for us. And he always says to them, I don't expect you to work as much and as hard as I do, but just try to keep up like that. And they're, of course, in their 30s. So anyway, people watch him lug drywall in the last few months since we started, and it really is quite unbelievable. And so we have quite a few of his sub trades that have started to try it and are going to start to try it. So it's worked out great. Probably and I told Alex that my husband has terrible skin because he's been on roofs and probably didn't put as much sunscreen on his hands as he should have or whatever. And so he started to get really paper thin, old hands, right? And he would have little hemorrhage spots all the time. And after a very short time on Live Again, all of a sudden one day he went like this to me and he goes, "Look at my hands." And I said, "Where's your blood spots?" And he said, "That's what I'm saying. I don't have them anymore." So anyway, those kinds of things have been amazing. But the funny one that Alex and I always laugh about is my husband is bald, except for this fringe of very white hair. And he's been gray since I can remember, like basically since he was 30. And anyway, all of a sudden, one day I walked behind him and there was like, bing, bing, all these black hairs that were growing out of the top of his head and along the fringe and whatever. So yeah, his hair color is coming back. So that's cool. I was kind of hoping that was going to work for me better because I hate the trips to the hairdresser, but so far it's just kind of starting a little bit for me. So I'm not as clean a slate as he is, but anyway. So it's been great. He is absolutely, and we are in love with the product. We have been talking to everyone up here in Canada because we suffer from very cold winters and everybody gets arthritis and that sort of thing. So yeah, so we are trying to help Alex spread the word, and we are, I know I'm not doing as good a job as I'd like to, Alex, but I am working as hard as I can right now.
Good, it's good. Yeah,
So,
and stuff.
yeah. So anyway, but yeah, it's been great. And so I love what you guys are doing. And like I said, I'm really happy about just taking the 2 pills now. And that's been working good for us.
That's right.
So
Yeah. Now with the new studies that came out, we were finally able to enroll the product that has up to 100 times higher absorption, because the new capsules, the technology allows them to be dissolved in the small intestine, and that's where the molecules are absorbed. So it was a really big deal. We're able to decrease that to 2 capsules and have the same or stronger effect. And it's a really, it's been nice for our clients. So yeah, taking 4 was a lot.
Yeah, well, yeah, that, especially for my husband, because he never takes anything. So yeah, this is working out much better. But we are just really happy with the whole approach that you guys, have come up with, where you're not doing the whack-a-mole to try and, oh, we're going to get your blood pressure with this pill, and we're going to get your macular degeneration with this pill, and we're going to do, this is just so much nicer. And I just think it's, yeah, it's got a great future. So anyways, we're thrilled.
Really nice. Yeah, the whack-a-mole medicine's great. You just go to the hospital and then they put you on something, and it ruins your DNA, and then you go back for another thing, and then 4 more pills, and then 5, and then you're like,
that's right.
And then notice some people stop taking some stuff for a day, they forget it, and then they're like, oh, I felt really good for that day, but then I need to keep taking it. So it's just, this stuff is like really, a lot of stuff out there is ruining people's DNA and getting them worse.
Yes.
And the worst thing is when seniors, they go to a senior home, they tell them, don't drink any more wine. And that was the only thing that was getting their sirtuins to work. And then that's like, okay, they turn that off, and then they're like, oh, well, sad, Sally passed away, in a month. Well, you guys are, it's getting her worse and worse and worse and killing her. So I'm hoping that people don't have to go through that pain and suffering as they usually did, and can just look at the underlying aspects behind a lot of age-related issues. And, I'm really happy, Kathy, that you guys are in good shape like that.
Yeah. Well, we have to stay in good shape, so we can keep up with you and we come back to Vegas.
Great.
It'll be awesome.
Well, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. Now,
no worries.
Let me see if there's anybody else in here who takes it. Oh, I wanted to ask Fred, you talked about that your vision's getting better in just 3 days. That's a really quick result there. Let me see. Let me try to unmute him. Fred, are you there? Fred? Let me see. I don't know if he's there.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, tell us what happened with your vision, because you just started taking it 3 days ago. He signed up as a reseller of our product too. And what happened exactly?
Well,
You're
prior
47.
to me, go ahead.
You're 47 years old. 47.
Yes, I'm 47 years old, and every morning I wake up, I have a little fuzziness with my right eye. I have to kind of close my eye and kind of stretch it, kind of like early morning stretches. And if I look at a text message on my phone, it's a little blurry, and it takes me about 30 minutes for it to start getting a focus, and it has a little haze to it, and I have to really kind of strain my eye or kind of stretch it, or what I call stretching, to make it focus pretty good. And it's only my right eye, and I just received the product on Tuesday or Wednesday, and I started taking just the one pill a day. And this morning I woke up and I was really in shock, because as soon as I opened my eyes, everything was clear. I didn't have a haze. I didn't have to blink 3 or 4 times to clear my vision. And I was like amazed, because I was like, I knew it was because of the product, because I always have this problem until I go see my chiropractor and I get an adjustment, and I can it gets back on track, but sometimes it can go off whack in a couple of days. But product helped me out just in 3 days, so I was very happy for that.
And when do you start with the 2 capsules? Is that tomorrow or today? When do you start with that?
I'll start with 2 tomorrow.
Great.
I'll start with 2 tomorrow. I think I'm 3. Yeah, tomorrow I start the 2 days.
Great. Well, great job. Great news. I'm very happy. That's great. That's fantastic. So, Fred, thank you. Thanks for getting this to a lot of people, because I know you connected me with a lot of people. He calls them and then connects me and says, then the people are really desperate because they have issues that don't help them. They have issues that they can't get help with, and then they're willing to try the product. And you get a money back guarantee, and we analyze it and see if we could potentially help them, and we do. Many of the times we do. So it's nice to look at all of these problems in an aging way, and not in a whack-a-mole hospital way. So thanks a lot, Fred. So,
no problem.
Anybody have any questions? Let's go to questions. And Kathy, you're amazing. Thank you for being here. Now that COVID is gone by, we're probably going to do this every week, so that you can bring anybody you want, friends or family, to watch this. I think it's really essential for people to understand it, because if they don't understand it, they take it, oh, I felt really good, but I don't know if it's from that. I don't know the mechanism. I don't know. So if they really see it and they understand it, then they take it. They're like, okay, now I understand what's going on, why it's helping me. So I think that's the right path to do it. Unless somebody's they're giving it to somebody, their caregiver gives it to them. And I had a call from a lady, and she said she brought her mother out of the senior home. She's crying to me on the phone, and the mother hasn't moved her legs since November, and she's been giving her Livigan every day, and now the mom's moving her legs again. And I told her to kind of work with strapping her in a little bit at the beginning, so she doesn't try to run off and run right away. That happens, and people can, they can think that they're much stronger than they are. They have to go slowly. So she's really happy, and her memory's coming back. It's a really big deal. But it's a good idea for her. Eventually, we can sit down with the mom when she feels much better and show her the presentation, so she understands what she's taking and what it is.
Exactly. Well, and I think, Alex, too, like, I know my own mom, as you know, is not very well. And her dementia has become exacerbated from basically COVID and being totally isolated from all of her family. And I've been wanting to give the Livigan to her, and I can't because of the regulations that we have up here in Canada. So now I'm hoping that with the fact that things are starting to open up a little bit, I'm actually able to see her a little bit now. But it was very hard because everyone was wearing a mask, and everyone, like, she didn't know who anyone was, and I wasn't coming anymore. And so I'm hoping that now I can just take them to her. And now that it's less pills, I might be able to get them to her, because I'm amazed at any of the testimonials from the elderly. Like, I just think that it's just right up their alley, because, you know, they've got nothing to lose, right? And everything to gain from Live Again. So I'm just really excited that hopefully I can get that to her, because I think that's going to make a big difference for her. So COVID kind of hurt us a little bit, set us back a little bit, but we're back on track, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. And hang in there, Kathy. Everything
Thank
will
you.
be all right. Everything will be all right.
Yeah.
I'm very happy that that you're a part of this. It's really amazing.
Well, we're really glad that we happened to be at that party where we met you, and your grandma. Your grandma was definitely who got us convinced that that was working. And we love your mom. She's beautiful too, and you know what, just doing such great things for your family. And I love your passion about helping everyone. And I think that that's the important thing about trying this. And then if you like it, telling your friends. That's the best way to do it, right?
Yeah. I keep telling my grandmother, you're gonna live another 30 years. She's like, and she doesn't understand it. But I think she finally got it, because she's like, oh, you're right. I guess in 2 days all my swelling went away, and then my memory came back. But I keep telling her, Grandma, you know what was going on 3 months ago? You were sitting at the table and talking to yourself for 3 hours, mumbling, and you couldn't stop. And she's like, no. I wish, I wish I had a video of that. I could show her and be like, here's the here and after. I mean, is it so incomprehensible that you would have such an issue, and then you're looking back at it? It's almost unbelievable. So yeah, so that's really amazing.
Exactly. That's great. Well, we're all very happy for you here, and we're going to do whatever we can to bring this product into being here too. So that'll be good.
Once these sirtuins work and the cells in the brain work, neurogenesis is a big deal, creating neurons. Every body creates neurons. People thought that brains didn't create neurons, but they do. And so now we know that's a real thing. But for seniors, they're barely creating any neurons. So somebody's going through Alzheimer's, and the disease is really, really bad far back, and it's going to take a long time if we're not the ones curing or treating the Alzheimer's, but what we're doing is we're making those cells work again, the ones that are dealing with neurogenesis. So it'll take a long time for those neurons to be created, and working with her a lot, but potentially it could, just the fact that the neurons, the neurogenesis functions are working could aid there in the part that is already long gone. But in the brain cells that are working and they're just inflamed and going crazy, these sirtuins can really come in there and take down that inflammation, bring back that identity of those cells, and get that aspect back. So I really see a lot of hope there with it, and I'm sure with after COVID and everything, you can get it to her.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it for sure. It's been a tough few months, that's for sure, but we're gonna give it a try.
I'll see you in Vegas, Kathy.
Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait. We miss being there for sure.
Now, I have the rest of the people muted here. I can unmute people, or you can unmute yourself, like Jan. I've got a 281002, a BE Rose. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and ask now. And then if you don't have any questions, we're going to end it here and wish you a nice Sunday. So ask now or forever hold your peace. No. Okay. All right. That's it. Okay.
Thank you, Alex. You did a great job again.
Thank you. See you later, Kathy.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, this is recorded. If anybody wants a copy, let me know. Take care.
Bye-bye.